Big decisions made and plenty more contemplated. It's all part of a very busy 360 agenda. The countdown is on to some huge matches, all the latest news to come, and then we let the players do the talking for the Hawks, Pies and the Lions. The season is over for the Giants' #1 forward, confirming suspicions he's been battling his body for much of the year. And all the build-up from a cool Geelong ahead of tonight's Foxtel Cup Grand Final between Williamstown and West Perth. It's Players Night on AFL 360. Welcome everyone, I'm Anthony Hudson and you of course are?
Mark Robinson. I picked Jared up, so I have to pick up. You said latest news. Snooze. That's all. I always critique Jared,
Okay.
so...
No, that's good.
I will let you. How are you?
I'm good, very good. Yeah, you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Solid day's news going around the footy world.
Yeah, there's lots to talk about, and we'll get into it. It is Players Night, of course. Jordan and Bob are here, and we'll look forward to chatting to them later. But before we get into the hard-hitting stuff, what's your matinee?
Tuesday matinee. My Tuesday matinee, Jared.
Do you want me to pick you up every time?
Yeah,
or?
that's twice. Yeah. 3 times. I did it twice last night. My matinee, Anthony, is Rory McIlroy. I watched a lot of this. It was great timing, over the weekend. Winning the major. It was great to watch. I loved how the golfers ended up in the rough because that's where we all end up. And it was great. He's just broken up with Wozniacki, the tennis player, and he's met himself a new girl and
so
good,
he's bounced back.
And good luck to her. Oh, that's not her. That's not her. That's his mother.
That's his mum.
I think, but I think he's winning. I think he's winning. Oh, I think he is winning. Yes, that's his new partner.
Right.
To go with his new claret jug. So good luck to him.
Well, it's good to see Caroline Wozniacki had a win herself on the weekend. So
yeah, she did.
She won a tournament, so she's fighting on.
She's going well.
What's my matinee, Robbo?
Hutto, what is your matinee?
My matinee is the Poms losing again. They're still clearly spooked by Australia. Ishant Sharma took 7 wickets to bowl them out. They were 4 for 173 and then bowled out for 223. I think it's their second time India have won at Lords in 80 years.
Are they in crisis?
Well, they're pretty close. The captain's under massive pressure. They're really struggling. Sharma bowled short and to a plan.
Well done for getting that out.
Took 7 wickets. And the last wicket fell with a run out there. And the Indians pretty happy.
It's Cook. Still
Cook's, yeah, still captain.
Isn't that staggering? He came out after the match and said, "No, I still want to be captain." It's not his decision anymore, is it?
Probably getting close. Warney's been getting stuck into him. So
yeah, I saw that.
Anyway,
I saw that. Let's
get into the footy agenda, shall we? Because after 17 years at the Adelaide Footy Club, 12 of them as CEO, Stephen Trigg has quit to join Carlton. Now, Trigg's been a controversial figure since the salary cap investigation over Kurt Tippett, which saw him suspended from a club role for 6 months. There was fines as well. The club lost draft picks. He's since returned, but as the club has had its ups and downs on the field in particular, there's always been a constant reference to the Tippett affair.
This decision has zero, I promise you, has zero to do with what I consider to be a minority of knockers. I think people who say that they leave with no regrets, maybe, I'm not sure how honest that is in the end, regardless of what your CV looks like, you're always going to regret something, I reckon. I'd like to think that obviously the AFL have put it behind them, other clubs have, we have internally, I promise you. I promise you we've put it away internally, we've learnt from it, we're better set up as a club governance-wise for it. We are, I genuinely feel more knowledgeable, more empowered by it, in a strange way. So in every other way, it's behind us. I never ever wanted to outstay my welcome. I've been supported incredibly well by this club for a long time and through a couple of little difficult spots. But I just know. I mean, you hear people say this. I just know that the time is right. I genuinely believe if you respect the game, it respects you back.
Interesting. Respect the game and respects you back.
What are your thoughts? I mean, I think we all think that it's you should be able to get a second chance.
Yeah, I think so. In life, I think that. Yep. I mean, how drastic the crime in life, maybe not, but there's some people who believe. I've written tomorrow. There's 3 pillars of disgrace in AFL. One is doping, the other one is match fixing, and the other one is cheating the salary cap. But Stephen Trigg was found guilty of one of the pillars of disgrace. In football, does he deserve a second chance? I think so, Hutto. I know you agree. there's others out there, and you'll read about it in the paper tomorrow, there's others out there who absolutely think he shouldn't be at Carlton. This discussion was held last year when he returned to Adelaide Crows after his 6-month suspension. The AFL ticked that off. It's probably bigger news here in Victoria, or down here in Victoria, because he's coming to one of the big clubs, one of the big power clubs, and you can't hide the fact. Carlton are salary cap cheaters. We shouldn't laugh about it. It was a serious matter and it set back the club for a decade. And now we've got a man who is involved in salary cap cheating going to Carlton. People can see the funny side of that.
Well, I think what it shows is that I think he's well respected in terms of he's good at his job. He's probably, at least the view of some, is that he's taken the fall for others, perhaps.
For others. He was the chief executive.
He was, and ultimately he has to take responsibility for that.
Yep.
And I guess the third thing is he's got friends in high places.
Well, that's the interesting one. Friends in high places. I spoke to Gil today about it, and we're writing about that tomorrow, and why. Why did the AFL forgive him? I mean, there's been plenty of instances in previous times, and remember Stephen Trigg sacked Matthew Rendell. Over comments, alleged, not alleged. Bundy Rendell has denied a lot of things and he got sacked. Trigg didn't get sacked for salary cap cheating. So there's a lot of hypocrisy and there's a lot of mixed messages out of the AFL. The fact of the matter is, the football world as a majority will say welcome, and there's others who will say you should not be in the job. He's got the support of the AFL, and that's your third point you're talking about.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's obviously a key point to the president of Carlton as well.
He was embroiled in that salary cap scandal a couple of years ago. Did that give you any pause for concern?
Oh, look, we conducted a very extensive due diligence on Stephen, and we were satisfied, and we are satisfied that he is the right person. But most importantly, he comes with the endorsement of the AFL.
And why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
That he's.
Why have they endorsed him a second time, given that he was suspended for salary cap breaches? It's an odd thing in some ways.
Oh, look, obviously he would have preferred that it didn't happen. It did. He's moved on, and he's a better person for it. So I think he's got the opportunity now to improve and prove himself again.
So Carlton get their man. He's got some big decisions to be made. One of the most significant in time will be on the coach and what happens with Mick Malthouse, no doubt in conjunction with the board. But there's also the pursuit of improvement in the list, Robbo, and you've written about Tom Mitchell in the Herald Sun today, and the fact that even though he's in contract with another 2 years to go, that this young man, the son of Barry, of course, could be on the move to the Blues.
Yeah, Mick Warner was working on this. We were working together on it yesterday, and he's on $500,000, Hutto, give or take.
To be playing reserves.
To be playing reserves. He's a talented player. We've seen that. He's got to work on parts of his game. Every club in the competition would be saying, why is Tom Mitchell playing reserves? Let's try and get into our club, one of which is Carlton. And one of those connections is his father, Barry. Now, our understanding is that Carlton are going through or trying to go through Barry to talk to his son. Will Sydney let him go? No. If Tom Mitchell says, I want to go back, I want to go to Melbourne, they might have to do a trade or keep a guy who doesn't want to be there. That said, mate, he's only been there 3 years.
Yeah.
They're fishing. Now, we didn't say this morning that they're going to get him. We're going to be writing a lot of stories. We'll be talking about it on Radio Hutto together. We'll be talking on the desk over the next 2.5 weeks. Clubs will be pursuing opposition players.
Could they get him out of Sydney? I guess that's the thing.
It's up to Tom. It's up to Tom.
Well, it's not. It's up to Sydney, isn't it?
Well,
really?
if Tom says, I don't want to be here, I hate your guts, John Longmire, and punches him in the face,
he's going
to get out of Sydney.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. He's still got 2 more years on a contract, though. He's on that amount of money because the Giants could have taken him if he didn't go with the father-son, so that's why...
Were you blown away by the money? Or did you know?
Well, I knew. I don't know the exact figure, but I knew it was a lot because they had to do that to keep him away from the Giants. But it is a complication, isn't it?
$500,000. Gee.
Kieran Jack, of course, one of the stars and co-captains of the Sydney Swans, offered this on it today.
Yeah, I've briefly heard that. I mean, he's had a frustrating run, Tom, with injuries and whatnot. I think I'm pretty sure he is contracted anyway for another couple of years, but, we know he's an important player to us, and hopefully he gets fit and on the park, because that's the main focus, I think, for him now is getting his body right.
Yeah, no doubt. It'd be great to see him out on the field. The Swans have got a fair bit of depth, though, as we heard Mick Malthouse talk about the other day. One player who certainly is getting a game with the Sydney Swans and is a free agent at the end of the year is Nick Malcheski, and Paul Roos talked to us last night about this. He said that he hadn't really heard much about the story, but obviously he's the type of player that would.
Did you believe? I'm not calling Paul Roos a life, far from it. But did you believe Paul Roos when he said, "Oh, is he really not spoken to him"?
He said he hadn't spoken to him, and now contract talks are on hold, according to the Age.
He's gettable. It sounds as though Nick Malcheski's gettable. Now, there's a lot going on in Sydney. It'd be great to have a look at their books. It would be, just to see who gets played.
That would be fascinating.
Do you reckon Andrew Wiley, he likes to show, if Andrew says, "Oh, yeah, come up and have a look at all the books."
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just have a look. But it sounds as though you put it off for the end of the year, he will get offers from clubs. That's not to say he will leave, but clubs will believe he's gettable.
There has to be a squeeze on their list somewhere after what they've done with Buddy. Now, obviously, they've got some other players that are coming towards the end of their careers.
Well, yeah, they're going to look at Goods, Ryan O'Keefe, LRT. It's Reece Shaw going on. I mean, off the top of my head, there might be $1.4 million there. I don't know, just off the top. So there is money coming out.
All this, of course, leads into another debate in a period of time where some of the stars of our game are on the way out. They've announced their retirements. We're still not sure about Dustin Fletcher. You put this in the paper back on July 9, Robbo, a question for the ages. Does he go on? He's obviously a close ally of James Hird, and he's going to be the coach next year. So what is the future for Dustin Fletcher? Will he go on and play 400 games? When will the decision be made on whether he plays on?
Well, it's completely up to him.
It wasn't a great day for Dustin Fletcher, and the funny thing is, once you get to a certain age, and he's about 8 years past the certain age that people start doing it, but as soon as you get into that veteran category, people start saying, is he done when you play a bad game? And I reckon that's a bit harsh on players.
Are you thinking that's more likely now than it was a week ago? Is it a week-to-week proposition for Fletcher?
I don't think you can judge it over 1 week. That's what I'm saying. It's too harsh to do that.
He's 39, so everyone thinks rides him very hard on the games he's had.
Should he play on?
Well, who's better at the moment, him or Tate Pears? I'll probably say Dustin Fletcher.
A player can be going really well, but when they get to a certain age, we've all seen it. It can happen really, really quickly.
Should he play on next year? I find that a really difficult question to answer, because under normal circumstances I would say no.
See, how do you deny a bloke 400 when only 2 players have ever done it in the history of the game?
Derm, you're sitting on match committee at the Essendon Footy Club and list management. Are you offering Dustin Fletcher another year?
Oh, they're going to hate me, aren't they? No.
I think you've got to have a look at his form over the next 6 weeks, and I'd be leaning to thinking he won't play next year.
Do you go on for and the player would be thinking the same thing as well. Gee, of course 10 weeks ago I was going really, really well, and now I'm really struggling.
Debate, wasn't there? Like whether you should finish with some in the tank or risk it and then maybe risk playing VFL next year.
For players to make the decision.
So one thing's for sure, with a player of the esteem of Dustin Fletcher, they've got to get this right. It's got to be handled well one way or the other, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. We had a debate on radio on Saturday about handling the departures of champions from your club, and it's got to be done right, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done with serious input from the player. The player's got to know. Now, if he thinks he can go on, he's got to convince the club. Now, if the club doesn't think he can go on, this is where he hangs back, which Fletcher's done a lot. Hangs back, Stringer gets it, goes forward, screws it around, kicks a goal. The club's got to convince Fletcher to stay. To go. So that's where it may get difficult. The understanding is James Hird wants him to play on next year. That throws a spanner in the works because James Hird's coaching next year. So there'll be discussions between Hird and the list management when he gets back.
I think physically he's actually better this year than he was last year, where he had some niggling injuries. So he probably feels like he can still play on.
But that doesn't look good.
No, but you're right. And there's been, he's obviously rested for matchups. So if he does want to play on, I guess he's got to be prepared to not be picked, doesn't he? And is that the way to go out?
Yeah, remember we asked Bomber on Monday night, is there room in footy now for contracts? And Sheedy said this 15 years ago. A contract that says you're going to play 14 games and we need you.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's going to be a talking point.
Well, another man whose future might well be discussed and is indeed today with the media is Chris Newman, and his coach Damien Hardwick offered this today.
Yeah, he's playing his role within the side, Chris. That's the one thing he does incredibly well. So that's a decision we'll take over the course of, the next 5 or 6 weeks and sit down with Chris and make a decision on his future then. It's like this time of year, isn't it? A lot of the great champions go out. So, like I said, we'll sit down over the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks and work our way through that.
Obvious question. I don't know if Chris Newman's ready to go. I've seen him play reasonable football, but it's funny when you have a season that's severely interrupted like Newey's had, that you sort of need a judgment over 8-9 games. He's done some really good things. As I said, I've seen him play some reasonable football, but I've seen him have some quiet games as well. He'll know. This is what clubs rely on. He'll know. And if he goes...
Have you got a gut feel on it?
I have. I've got a gut feel that he'll go on.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But he's right on the edge. He could go... His body could give out on him at around 10 next year. It's a long, long year. I was saying the same thing about Corey Enright. I'll be honest. I was saying 10 years ago, I'm worried about Corey Enright.
10 years ago?
10 weeks ago.
Right, yeah.
I was worried about him 10 years ago.
No.
He's one of the best ever. But I was worried about him 10 years ago because I was looking at him so closely.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, he's hitting the ball, he's not grabbing it, he's not running as well as he used to. Can they get him through to the finals? And I'm happy to say that I've watched Corey Enright over the last 3-4 weeks, and especially on the weekend. He was magnificent on the weekend.
He was.
Ability to use a ball and get the ball. So, it's a difficult one.
All right, well, some injury news today, and pretty significant one. I think it underlined the issues that Jeremy Cameron's had all year with both ankles and also an eye problem. He's now gone in for surgery on, I think, the left ankle. Here's what he had to say about it.
You're pleased to be getting the surgery done now?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot better for me, I think, if I get it done now rather than try and play out the year. And I could slowly but surely injure it more. And I think if I get it done now, I'll be up here. I can do my rehab, get through it before the off-season, and then go home, spend a bit of time with family, and come back ready for next pre-season.
So it's been a bit of a talking point, really, hasn't it, all year, why Jeremy Cameron was, All-Australian last year and has clearly struggled. And there's probably a number of reasons, but the body certainly has to be one of them.
Well, there's now talk, Hutto, that he might have hurt his ankle in the pre-season, right close to the season started. And I know this sounds ridiculous. I'm happy to now learn that he's injured because we had Moons and Barry Hall question him recently, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, how he was almost cheating on the field, wasn't going for the ball, he was ducking around the back and trying to get the easy one over the top. We know Dermot Brereton said the same thing. He hasn't been able to attack the ball. He was one of the most aggressive young forwards I've seen come into the game. And you used to call him, he used to hit packs, mate.
Yeah.
Bang. This year, he wasn't. He was stopping back and we think, what is going on with this man? Now we know. It's been a long campaign. I wonder if he was happy to play out to round 18 before getting it done.
Yeah, well, it's going to be... Let's hope that he's back and firing next year, that's for sure. More immediately, though, of course, there's some huge matches this weekend. One of them is Sunday, with Collingwood taking on Adelaide, and it's going to be fascinating to see how the Pies go. One thing in their favour is that Jamie Elliott returns from injury. He's back for his 50th game, and he, at least, still thinks the Pies are in the hunt this year.
We feel like we play a really good brand of football, but we feel like that's really inconsistent and we don't perform how we want to perform each week. But when we do, we're up there with the best. So we've just got to play to our structure, play to how Bucks wants us to play, and if we do that, we're going to win games. And we haven't done that enough this year, and that's why it's been so inconsistent.
Given their respective ladder positions this week, do you see this almost as a bit of a mini final?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bucks has touched on it as well. So if we win this game, it'll set us up better for the finals, and if we don't, it's just going to set us back, and we've got a long way to go if we do lose this game. At the moment, we're approaching it like it's a final, and we've got to do that. So yeah, we've just prepared for it to be a final, and we're going to come out like that.
Huge game with Elliott back, Reid probably back if he gets through the rest of the week. That does change their forward mix.
Oh, it does, Hutto. But we were talking to last night to Ruzi and Bomber about bringing players in and not having that touch. I mean, there's no way...
You'd expect Elliott to be all right, though, wouldn't you?
How long has he missed?
I think only... Well, it'll be 3 weeks.
Goddard and Hibbard missed 1 week and we're fumbling around like drunks on Sunday.
Yeah.
There's no way known I'm picking Collingwood this week.
Really?
No way known. Swan out. Swanee out. Maxwell played last week, but he was underdone, but he's now gone. So Maxie's gone, Swanee's out, and they're bringing in two players who haven't played for a long time in a game where Adelaide are going along okay. You know, they're going to have a lot of hungry, one-touch, match-fit players. I think this is a huge, huge challenge for Collingwood.
Crows at the MCG, it's a different story though, isn't it, to at home?
Well, it's easy. Just take the Ross Lyon mantra, anytime, anywhere kind of team.
Well, we'll see how they go.
What's the difference? It's goalposts and room to run around.
You should coach, Robbo. You should coach. All right, Q Clash 8 is another one of the... I know, just stick to your goal-kicking academy for the moment, Robbo. Q Clash 8 is another one of the big games this weekend. You'll see it on Fox Footy, of course, and things have turned around since these matches first started, where the Lions were always the hot favourite, even though they did get upset in the early days. These days, it'll be the Suns who are pushing for a place in the 8, and they'll go in as favourites. Tom Rockcliffe, one of the stars of the Lions, has been good enough to join us from Brisbane. How are you, Tom?
Hey guys, how are you?
We're well. It's a huge game no matter where your two sides are on the ladder, and I guess the Suns have got plenty to play for, but so have you, because they did the job on you earlier in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they played a really good brand of footy when we met them early on in the year, round 3. So it's a good test for our group to see where we're at, and obviously they're vying for a finals position still. So I think they're sitting just outside the 8 at the moment. So it's going to be a really good week of footy for Queensland footy.
Hey Tom, the best thing about this season watching the Lions is you're not falling away. You're showing effort. You're winning games. You've won 4, and on the surface that looks and sounds really bad, but it's actually not. We're looking at a team who I reckon is fighting as the season goes out. So that makes this game really important in your own belief, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're normally sitting in 17th on the ladder, it's all doom and gloom. But I think we've shown a lot of potential this year, and the kids that we've blooded so far this season's been outstanding in the way that Lewis Taylor and James Aish and Dan McStay, kids like this have come in, and Darcy Gardner, and have played their role for the team. It's been outstanding. So it's another good opportunity for us to learn. We're still learning Leper's game plan and tinkering with it. So it's another good opportunity this week, and obviously the Suns are in pretty good form, and obviously without Ablett it gives us a good chance, and we've still got our fair share of injuries, but we've got to go out there and perform really well this Saturday afternoon.
How old are you now, Tom?
What's that, sorry?
How old are you now? How old? Age?
Am I?
Yeah.
I'm 24. So I think that's what you asked.
Yeah, I am. I'm asking how old you are. So I must have been mumbling. The point I'm trying to make is, it seems to me that you've had to grow up really fast as a footballer, because you just mentioned Mays and Lewis Taylor and Aish, and Rich has been out, and Redden's been beside you, and you've had retirements and injuries. So suddenly you guys were the young people in the team, but you're no longer the young people. You're actually the leaders now, and the next wave of young people have come in.
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes you mature a lot quicker, and hopefully our 18-year-olds in a couple of years' time are playing like 24-year-olds. And obviously, if you see me play, I run like a 35-year-old. So I've got to mature probably a bit quicker, and that goes for all our group. And I think you've seen Pierce Hanley really mature as a footballer this year. And then there's blokes like Dane Zorko and Josh Green that have also done exactly the same thing.
Can I ask you a bit more about Lewis Taylor, because to me he's been one of the real finds of the year. He was a high-ish draft pick, but certainly not as high as some people rated him. He's had an incredible season.
Yeah, outstanding player, Lewis Taylor. Obviously a great kid as well, and a good Vic Country boy. So the more boys from Vic Country that we can get up here, the better. But he goes out there, plays his role. He's really exciting. I think we were pretty lucky to get him where we got him. I think we ended up getting him 28 or around the 30 mark. So there was talk of him going a little bit earlier, and I think GWS were keen on him, and you can see why. He brings life. He runs, he carries, he tackles, he does all the right things. So he's going to be a player of the future. He had an interrupted pre-season, and another pre-season under his belt next year, but he's got to really finish the season really strong this year.
You're averaging 29 touches a game, Tom, but it's not just about touches. Where do you think you've improved parts of your game?
I think Lepper's been really good for me. I think he's let me evolve as a footballer, but he's also been there to support me and help me with my leadership and so on off the ground. But I think it's sort of the guys behind the scenes that do a good job. Brett Burton, Matt Hass, who's our strength coach, works really close with me, and Shane Lemke, who's our head physio. I had a bit of a back problem early in the pre-season, and his ability to get me right and up and before me. I think it's just about preparing yourself, but probably more from a recovery side of thing for me to get up week in, week out. It's been probably the most important thing and the thing that I've evolved my game this year.
You were interviewed for the Herald Sun. You spoke at length about Justin Leppard. You just mentioned Lepper again then, Tommy, about how great he has been for you. I need to ask you, your relationship between yourself and Michael Voss, was that where it should have been?
I think there was a really high mutual respect between me and Vossi, and I respected him highly as a coach and what he did as a player, and I think he respected me as a player as well. So obviously you don't have perfect relationships with everyone, but mine and Vossi's relationship was fine and we got on really well, and I just think that my relationship with Lepper, I think we're very similar people, and we're sort of the life of the change room, so to speak, and we're the sort of the ones that organise the social events. So that's, I think, where me and Lepper have probably hit it off a little bit more, and he's sort of been really instrumental for me this year, yeah.
Well, it's obviously working for you. Big game against the Suns, as we said. Good luck. Thanks very much for joining us. You're always very generous with your time here on 360.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Tom Rockcliffe joining us there from Brisbane.
Was I mumbling, or was there something wrong with the earpiece?
I'm glad he didn't ask you to repeat the question you asked after that one.
What was it?
Well, it just went a little bit longer.
Did it? Was I having trouble spinning it out, was I?
No.
I do have that knack sometimes. You pull me up. Jared just jumps in.
I think we've both got a record in that area, Robert. All right, let's head to Geelong now ahead of tonight's Foxtel Cup Grand Final. There's $100,000 up for grabs tonight between West Perth and Williamstown. Ben Dixon's got Andy Collins with him, I think, down there. Come in, Dicko.
Thanks, Hutto. Robbo, I've got to mention the conditions firstly, boys. I've got my jacket on prepared. Colo, you had the skis on top of your car because we could expect some snow tonight, I would have thought.
Yeah, it's really cold down in Geelong. I think that it's a triple wetsuit in the surf.
Well, he's touched on the $100,000, Hutto. Last year, you won it with West Adelaide, the Bloods. Now you're with Williamstown. You've got your strongest side in so far.
Well, the prize money is really important, but to put our club on a national brand is essential. You know, Williamstown's one of the oldest clubs. It's 150 years, equivalent to Carlton. You know, Robbo and Anthony would know the history of football in Victoria, so it's really important that Williamstown do really well tonight.
And I mentioned the $100,000 last year. What are you going to pocket tonight, Colo, because you do all the work here?
Well, the players have made sure that the coach gives them the money for their end-of-season footy trip. So, you know, if they play really well, that's more than 25% of our salary cap, so it's a really significant prize money.
And your opponent, West Perth, Waffle Premiers last year. Do you know a lot about them?
Yeah, look, obviously I've scouted them really well, hopefully well enough. But, you know, we've got some people over in Western Australia, seen a lot of vision like any coach would. And they're the reigning premiers. I think they've got 15 of their premiership team in, so it's a big game.
You pride yourself on bringing players through and making the grade. Foxtel Cup, how good's the exposure for your boys?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I've told you before, you know, I've had young Josh Gibson in my program, Benny McGlenn in the program, you know, many players, mature recruits, you know, right through to Sammy Mitchell, you know, so this is a chance for these mature players to showcase their talent.
Andy, you're a star player at Hawthorn. You've coached for a long time now. Have you still got the desire to coach at the senior level of AFL? Could you get back in the system?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? You only can do as a coach what you can do, and you know it's a very interesting industry now, and I love what I'm doing here, and you know that's my focus.
I'm not sure whether you can pick up, boys, from the camera angle, but he's still hung over from the 25th anniversary of the '89 flag. He's telling me that the boys got back and celebrated, but Gary Ayres is another one that's been thrown up in terms of the coaching at AFL level.
Well, I said that before. Gary Ayres is coaching better than ever, and it's interesting in regards to recycling coaches, and I think that he learned from his experiences in Adelaide, but he was very successful down here in Geelong. You know, he probably is one to consider. I'm interested in the trend of coaching in Australia, that it seems to go younger and less experienced, where overseas coaching, and you can see from the World Cup recently, you know, it's more mature. So it's an interesting trend in Aussie rules that we go with the youth over experience.
Well, good luck tonight, Colo. Boys, it's a big one here. Simmons Stadium is cold, but it's going to be a ripper.
Good stuff, Dick. I look forward to, of course, it comes straight up after AFL 360 and we'll get back there later in the program. All right, next the players come in, Robert Murphy and Jordan Lewis, and we're going to go inside the inner sanctum of Port Adelaide again from Ken Hinkley's pre-match address.
We've got to have a mindset that whatever the team needs today, we're doing, no matter what. And it's appropriate, Dom, that it is today for you. And I know it's a very big day. Sometimes you've got to stand up, and today is a day you've got to stand up for your great mate. And we as a footy club have to stand up for him. Because I know he'll stand up. It's a good opportunity for us as a football club to do what we should do to a person that we have so much respect for. Now, it's easy. It's really easy to say you're going to do it. Really easy. I want to be really proud of what you do today. More importantly, you need to be really proud of what you do today. So when the time comes, he gets what he deserves. It's a fitting farewell. Because I couldn't be, I'm a little disappointed, Dom, that it was only 18 months for us to be connected together as coach and player. But I know every moment of that, you've given me everything, and I feel I've given you everything back. So today, we're going to give you everything. I'm going to give you everything I've got. This group of players, led by the captain, will give you everything back. And you'll come off and you'll be really proud, I reckon, to your footy club for one more time. And then you can sit back and watch and enjoy and still be a part of our family forever. So have a look at Dom and understand why today is so important.
Well, thank goodness they got over the line on Sunday. It's fantastic inner sanctum stuff, and again, we thank the Port Adelaide Football Club for that access here to get an exclusive look at that first. It's terrific. I guess you guys get...
Introduce him first.
Oh, sorry, let's introduce. That's Bob Murphy. That's Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis. I'll handle the serious stuff.
Okay.
How good was that? Have you heard that? Does that happen with all retirements? And what is it? How do you feel when you hear it?
I had goosebumps listening to that. I think what he does so well, and we've seen a little bit of again this year, is he makes it personal. He talks on your level. He says, everyone wants to work for one person. He's done so much for the club, and it shows the amount of respect that Dom Cassisi has at the Port Adelaide Football Club. He's obviously an admired...
You played against him.
He's an admired
sort of player.
Yeah, he's an admired played periphery, but internally he's obviously held in high regard. And I love watching other stuff like that. It does give you goosebumps.
Did you have the same, Bob?
It's exactly the same. I felt like I was in the room. It's great access, and how, I think the word used, personal, how personal it is. So much about the game is impersonal, if you watch from afar, and I don't know inside Port Adelaide at all, and you just get to play against and watch from afar, but you get a real sense of what it's like.
I get the impression as a fan that personal stuff is the majority the majority talk, the stats and the style of football and tactically how you want to play is a major role, but it's that personal stuff. I hope the personal stuff continues to drive the players and is spoken about.
Yeah, I think as the year goes along, the coaches come up with certain themes that they try and drill into the players, and this obviously was a milestone game, so it probably is a little bit more personal than other games. But I saw on the weekend, I think it was GWS playing, I forget who they've played, but Leon Cameron going around to every single player and really just having a conversation on what he expects from the player throughout the game, and that's great to see. It gives the fans a little bit of an insight into how
that was
some
great
coaches,
footage, yeah. It was when
how
he's
some
sitting on the bench.
coaches, and even prior to the game in the rooms, he goes around, this is what I expect from you, and let's see it today.
Does Clarko say that to you blokes?
Yeah, absolutely. He's very personal like that, and on the training track and obviously in the rooms, he lets you know what he expects from you that day.
Mako?
Yeah, that sort of thing's quite commonplace, I would think. It's commonplace in our footy club, that personal touch and, talk about what each other mean, what you mean to each other. That's as big a part of footy now as it ever was.
All right, I want to get your views on the length of the season. James Brayshaw has suggested a 20-game season, and today he got some support from Damien Hardwick.
Yeah, I personally think it is. I think I don't think there's a sport as harsh and as gruelling as ours that asks our players to do an incredible amount of work. And, I think, we can keep having the argument, but the reality is the 22 games are here to stay.
What's the length, do you reckon? What's the perfect length?
I reckon you'll get support from you and no support from me. I reckon if you'd ask the younger players,
12 weeks.
They'll say more, give me more,
Really?
which means less pre-season.
How do you feel? You like 22?
The more footy, the better for me.
So really, physically, it's not a problem.
Yeah, I suppose I've been quite lucky in terms of injuries, but I would push for more. That's my feeling. I would love playing every week, and my body has the ability at the moment to recover. I understand, maybe as I get older, and it can change really quickly, that it may not have the ability to recover as quick as I can now. But right now,
you're unbreakable. You're right at the.
He's a he-man.
Yeah, but you're in the height of your game. How old are you? Can you hear me?
28.
Can you hear me? 28.
Yeah. So
a bit older than I thought, actually.
Probably have a different answer.
What's your serious thought on it?
My serious thought, it's not a really strong thought, to be honest, but I think for me it's a bit long. It's that little bit long. I like the idea of playing everyone once and then
a couple more.
Yeah, and then a few more of. I'm open to hear how you can.
Anyone lucky if you get Hawthorn and Sydney as your extra 2 games?
Well, I think there could be a way to work around that. I'm open to hear suggestions.
Hawthorn on Sydney.
Well, speaking of Hawthorn and Sydney, what a game it's going to be on the weekend.
Talk to us.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting, I suppose. Every single player that plays in this competition likes to play in the big games. It's 1 versus 3. There's a lot riding on the game. There's no doubt about that, and they got us up there, so we'll be looking to get one back, which would be quite nice.
When you see them play like we all have, which is seriously some devastating football, do you go in anxious? Do you go in confident? How do you go in? Or is it like a grand final day or a big final? Not a grand final day, a big final day. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think every side that comes up against Sydney know what they're in for. So you really got to bring... Which is hard, contested football, that relentless sort of style that they've played over the years. And you've really got to prepare yourself for that. And I think it's exciting. It's a really good challenge for us. You really want to see how you go against the top sides in the competition. And they really did a number on us early on in the year. They smashed us, especially in the first quarter. They did. They really started the game well. And that'll be something that we'll have to concentrate on coming into this game.
What about Josh Gibson? Is he right, and is he fired up, and should he come straight back in?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's trained really, really strongly. I suppose with the injury that he's had, he's been able to get some work in terms of running and that sort of stuff. So he hasn't lost any fitness. So he'll train on Thursday, and he'll be one of the likely inclusions for this game.
Bob, I'm interested in your view on the Sydney Swans. I mean, there's all sorts of views on which teams will win. Most Swans are the hottest favourites, but there's a certain number of people that I talk to. So Swans are the best team by 5 goals, 10 goals, you name it. What's your thoughts on the Swans?
Yeah, they're a hard one to gauge in one respect. I think for the last couple of years, from the people I spoke to, we always thought that if the Hawthorn's best footy, this is before the most recent flag, their best footy was probably the most exhilarating, or probably the best footy. Whether you could do that on grand final day and final series was another thing. And I think now there is that Sydney's absolute best is as good as anything anyone's ever seen, I think.
Ever seen?
Oh, I think so. With the talent they've got, it's pretty incredible how good they could be. And having said that, Hawthorn's, I don't think they've tipped over, but it'll be all eyes will be on.
They've tipped high, haven't they?
All eyes will be on the weekend. It'll be.
Have you noticed Buddy Franklin playing this year, Bob?
Lance
Franklin, he plays full forward.
He plays footy as well.
Yeah, he's in super form. And the thing about Sydney, you got to win the midfield, because if you guys don't win the midfield, like if you allow them to have 58, 55, 60, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that's what happened when we played up there, and that was why it was so devastating early, because they smashed us. They really did. They smashed us in every single category you can think of early on. So it's a midfield battle, to give your forwards first
Hill
use
playing
and save your backs.
Can you tell us or not? Is Hill playing?
Yeah, he'll be likely to play. Yeah. So what do you take out of that?
I don't know.
Explain that.
I don't know. You need him.
What about the ruck battle within and this is probably a broader question, to battles within a club, within a team for a set spot particularly. It's a bit maybe like wicket keeping in cricket, but there's only so many you can have in a team, and at the moment you've got obviously Hale, who's struggling for form, but is out of the side. McAvoy,
policy,
Segler.
It's always form policy. Is there a form policy?
I didn't know there was one.
Policy.
Policy? Yeah, they're getting a kick, or you're not getting a kick, isn't it?
I suppose this is our most probably publicised position that's really been really competitive this year. We've had guys who have come in, and even if you speak of a guy like Luke Loudon, he came in and kicked 3 goals on debut, and then we sort of haven't seen him since, because that competition for 1 ruck spot or 2 ruck spots is quite exciting at the moment, I think. And it's not that they're injured; it's just sometimes players are out of form, and the fortunate thing, I suppose, is we've got 4 guys who are capable ruckmen, and we've got 2 guys who are playing really well and holding their spots.
What about the Dogs, Rob? Obviously, you looked so good on Sunday, and the Bombers came right over the top of you, led by a certain full forward.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? Geez, he's a good player. But we were really disappointed. We were right in it up to our ears, for most of the day, and they got over the top of us, which was it was.
I'm glad you're not having a gallant loss theory. That you should be very disappointed.
No, they're
very disappointed, Bob.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, so that's what I was alluding to, and certainly not a whisper of a gallant loss amongst it. It was. Yeah,
what let you down? What the review today? You talk about it every Tuesday when you come in. You have the review. What was Brendan McCartney disappointed with in? Give us the final 15 minutes.
Well, it wasn't just Brendan. It was Brett Montgomery does a lot of our review, so he sort of ran it today. A lot of the indicators were in our favour, and we played a lot of the game the way we wanted it played, and it came down, unfortunately, to some critical moments that Essendon were just too good for us. So
defensive lapses. I mean, everyone knew they were going to Carlisle, and a couple of times it looked like Carlisle found too much space for a guy that everyone knew the ball was going to. Did that come up?
So that we didn't. I mean, that did come up, of course, but that'll get specifically tomorrow with the defender stuff. But
with the men,
they're a good side though, Essendon, because they're a side that shifts the ball around, not unlike Hawthorn. So a side that shifts the ball around, it's not as easy to then lay off and help out deep. So that was the challenge, and we weren't up to it.
Did he miss an obvious move to move Murphy to full back on Carlisle?
It's probably not that obvious, Hutto, but if he
you didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. Did you think of that?
I didn't think of that.
What was the positive? Again, for the second week running, mate, I reckon the Dogs were involved in a game of football which was exhilarating. Like that first, the whole game was exhilarating. The movement of the ball of the Dogs has changed or improved so much from 5 weeks ago, Bob, to the last 2 weeks. It jumps out at you when you watch on the TV or you're at the ground.
That's got to be the positive, I think, and the things you can't measure. I think there's self-belief that's building every week. And it grew again on the weekend, despite the fact we just couldn't go for the jugular at the end. So we'll get another chance for that. We play in a lot of close games.
You can feel it. They're hungry, the Dogs. It's great.
Before we get into Rascal, just some free kicks last night. Roosie, we played one to Roosie, and then he wanted another one looked at, so we thought we'd do the right thing.
Oh, we did find
This was the one first that Watts was paid a free kick against.
You're a defender, Bob. Is that a free kick?
No, it's a good spoil.
Jordan, you're a fool. Is that a free kick?
Good spoil to me.
That's front on contact. They call it front on contact.
Yep. Yeah, I think what you look for here is where are his eyes, and his eyes were clearly on the ball. He made contact with the ball, so
No free kick.
I would say that's not a free kick.
Kicks the crucial goal.
Massive goal.
With Jades are great, but
yeah, we've got the time to really look at the replay, and it's real time which makes it.
This is the one that Roosie wanted us to show to compare as to why that.
Oh, you know, I remember that one now.
I guess
a bit high.
Yeah. That wasn't paid as a free kick, so.
Yeah, well, I've seen that paid before, but.
Seen it paid 100,000 times.
Rascalus, Bob?
You're a rascal, Bob?
This one was. This is a pretty good one, actually.
Yeah.
And we've got some extra good footage of this one. So if we could just roll the tape in the control room. So there's the tackle and free kick. Brodie Murdoch was the player who made the great tackle, actually. And then as you see, David Armitage just comes in and just takes the ball.
Petrie, is it?
He just decides that he'll take the kick, and when we slow down, just watch him point to Brodie and say, "Yep, I've got it."
And he took it?
He took it, and he missed it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so I just like the point like mine.
Really?
He missed
Were you here when Drew came in and he took the free kick off Majak Door, I think it was?
Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Typical forwards.
Don't do that.
Boys, thanks for being with us again, and good luck on the weekend, Geordie. All right, we'll take a break. Don't forget, tomorrow night, join us again with Nathan Buckley in the hot seat, joining us here ahead of the big Sunday night clash. He'll be with us in the studio.
For him, or maybe he just wanted to make the goal look more difficult. Oh, he's a gun. 13! Can you believe it? Off the side of the book, he says that's a goal. Franklin with a hurdle, and then the long one. This will be something. Left foot snap. Ackermanis has kicked a goal. Running down towards the 50. Can he do it again? Man running back towards the goal square. Needs to be closer. He kicks it through on the full. Here's a sensation. He talks the talk, he walks the walk.
Open goal square. He might try for a 70-metre goal. What a kick!
Seen a lot of the football. Again, well done the handball, timed it brilliantly. Can he top himself? He can't top himself.
Freaks, the both of them, that's for sure. Jason Ackermanis head-to-head with Buddy Franklin in the latest quarter-final as we count down to Freak Week.
It's a great idea, the Freak Week.
You can get on foxfooty.com.au. There's the result from last night. And Bakes gets home over Blighty pretty comfortably and moves through to the semi-final.
Who is a bigger freak between Barry Hall and Cameron Mooney? Who would you think?
Depends how you define freak, isn't it, really, on this one?
Right.
Let's get down to
there they are, the freaks. The freak show.
There they are ahead.
We're going to clubber you
What
Thursday.
are you doing, Mooney? What are you dressed up for like that?
Mate, do you know how it's that cold down here? It's -10. I'm going to stab you with a blunt knife.
Can't wait for Thursday night, then that'll be me. Who wins tonight, boys?
Well, Baz, I reckon Williamstown. Look, they, obviously the conditions are very cold down here, guys. In all honesty, both have got their best sides in, but I just think Willie are in pretty good form at the moment, Baz.
Yeah, Williamstown. Look, they come in heavy favourites, but I think we've seen after the weekend results, Moons, anything can happen in football. And if West Perth come over switched on, and look, they're not going to make the finals in the Waffle League, so they can stack their side and try and go for the $100,000 here tonight.
What have they got going for them, Badge? You've seen him play a couple of times. What have Willie got that's going to be hard to stop?
Oh, I think their midfield stat. They've got Jolly in there, who's an outstanding ball magnet for them. They've got Davies. They've got a good back line, and their forward lines is a young kid named Jake Owens, who lit it up last time here at the Foxtel Cup. He's a talent. He's got a lot of athleticism, so look out for him to kick a few goals. But they're pretty even all over the park. Williamstown's a really strong outfit.
Hey, who's Freak Week? Who's Freaks tonight? Who are they?
Jason Ackermanis versus Buddy Franklin.
Oh, well, it's got to be Buddy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's Buddy.
But you played with Acker, didn't you? You love Acker.
Yeah, I did, but no one can do freaky stuff like Buddy Franklin. I think particularly his size and some of the things he does, he does them like a small man. He's 6'5", we keep forgetting, but Buddy for me, for the freak.
Yeah, Moons, did Baz bring his accreditation tonight? He sort of forgot in Adelaide on the weekend.
I had a bit of trouble getting in the ground at Adelaide Oval, and I had my pass in the suit pocket, but it was in all my luggage, so I had to unpack it on a bin, and I was pretty happy about that. And Hutto was taking photos and putting it on his Twitter account.
Don't they, over there?
Oh yeah.
Your gloves go very well with your lipstick tonight, Moons.
When I get in there Thursday, you are in so much trouble.
Looking forward.
It's called lip gloss too, Robert.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
All right, we're looking forward to tomorrow night, of course, and also Thursday when the boys are back.
Funny.
But King and McClure with us tomorrow night. We're back shortly.
Maybe McKenzie and McClure. McClure is up high and tops a beautiful mark. Oh, beautifully plucked in by David King.
Like the sand through the hourglass, the daisies of our life.
Oh, yeah.
You get
Very good. Well.
Oh, almost, and then another almost, and another almost.
Have a look up. Look up.
Cassisi in his last game is done. Is almost great.
Hutto was ready to go, wasn't he? Been practicing that one all week.
Coach of the Bombers, Bomber Thompson. Are you okay, Bomber? You okay?
I can feel that coming on.
That's a great split screen, isn't it?
Well, we've got another job waiting for you anyway. AFL 360, you're a permanent member, so we'll see you there.
Mate, it's only 6 months of the year and one night a week. So I don't know whether it's going to pay the bills.
The mildly amusing moments from round 18, part A. Nathan Buckley on the show tomorrow
Massive,
night. What are you
absolutely massive. I think there's a lot of spotlight on Nathan Buckley. How can he get this club up after that terrible loss against Essendon? Real hurdles they've got to get over, and I think people are going to look at how we can get them mentally ready.
And
Can't
of course, King and McClure are with us as well, so some plenty to analyse with those boys.
Yeah, will be. And you were very good tonight, Hutto.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, the Foxtel Cup Grand Final is coming up next, so make sure you tune in for that one, and we'll see you tomorrow night on AFL 360.